sun to photosynthesize, and then you get the fruit. So for me, mind is the connection. It's that space in between your thoughts, mental body, your feelings, vital body, vitality, sensations, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, seeing in the physical body, and then your body electric. Body electric, what's that? Do you know you've got electricity in your body? It's different to the electricity in cables, because this is made of voltage. Actually, it's Baho. Voltage, amperage is there, resistance is there, hydrogen, oxygen, potential. Baho. That's in the body. Without that, you're dead. That's the one thing we can tell when a person leaves their body, that electrically, you're no longer active. That's the important differentiating factor, clinically dead. It isn't the breathing only, not at all. Yeah? So, the important part here, I've said, is that a human being is a conscious entity, not a machine with different systems. It is a constantly expanding, dynamic, so it's moving, not static, interactive, not still within a bubble, energy and information matrix. It's an interface between Earth and the universe. So I asked before about gravity. Yes, we're familiar with gravity, this force. What do we know about gravity? It's powerful. And it acts down on objects here to keep them from floating away or flying away. Okay, from the surface. We are told that gravitational force is strong, correct? And as it's acting down, you've got to ask yourself, why does it not crush us and turn us into a pizza? Flat. Yeah? Why? Any idea? There's a thing called the reactive force of the Earth that enters into your body. What is that force? Any idea? Is that taught? You teaching it? You teaching it? The reactive force of the Earth? No. Okay. What is that? It's the result of the core, whether a solid, liquid, or a sun, because there are different theories, full of energy that as the Earth circulates, spherical or elliptical, it doesn't matter, but there's something in the middle of something outside that turns. And that generates energy. That energy is particles, free electrons, moving through from the core to the mantle and across onto the surface of the Earth, which gives energy to plants and animals. And when we stand on or lie on Earth, especially where there's grass, you are receiving pulsed electromagnetic fields at a frequency of 0.5, that means half, until around 30 Hertz. And guess what? We found out that those frequencies are ideal for healing ourselves. So, in the last 20 years, 25 years, they've made mats, PEMF mats, PEMF mats, together with Schumann resonant frequency devices that help to activate and bring into alignment our alpha waves, which are very important for focus and attention without hyperactivity. That means no beta waves, just alpha. 7.84 Hertz from the stratosphere. So if that's missing, for whatever reason, and there are lots of reasons, ozone is growing bigger, and there's all sorts of other interferences happening through satellites, etc. And then on the Earth, we cover it with concrete or asphalt. We're not getting the pulsed electromagnetic fields that help us to heal our bodies. But that energy enters the body and gives you energy. Has anyone sat cross-legged? How long can you sit cross-legged before you start doing that? 3 minutes? 5 minutes? Yeah? Do you know why? We spend most of our time sitting in a chair so you don't have to hold your body up. But if you're going to be sitting, you need to be able to sit, as we did, for between 6 and 8 hours a day. Like that, in deep meditation. And it's not muscular contraction that keeps you there. Because the contractions can only keep you comfortable for about 3 to 5 minutes. So something's got to happen in the body that's moving. Looks like it's still, but it's not. Do you understand? That's the important part. So we have to understand that there's something moving through us all the time. And it's not static. It's constantly active. Go to the next one. Right. Mindfulness is this state. Comes from the word satipatthana, which means sati is remembering, recollecting. Patthana is initiating. So we initiate the process of remembering, but not from your intellect and from your brain, but from your cells. It's remembering your original cells. Because your cells are a lot more intelligent than your conscious mind. They keep you alive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year throughout your life. Are you aware of the processes that are going on in your heart, and your liver, your gallbladder, and your stomach? No, but your cells are. And they're sending messages through chemistry and through neurological impulses and electricity to keep you alive. That's called homeostasis. Yeah? Go to the next one, please. So mindset is created through a connection between the psychological, neurological, the nervous system, the hormonal system, as well as the body electric, and the immunity system. Each of these systems is not just this system, this weird thing that happens on its own without your control, that somehow is created by something. These systems are portals of information, just like in a computer, and you're picking up different languages, and they're all telling each other what's going on. If anything's wrong, they inform each other, and it helps you to become aware of where you are in yourself. So, the information resulting from the connection of all of these different signals make up what I call your memory and the connection between conscious mind. Now this is another really important thing. Why did I start to explore what are called altered states of consciousness? Because 95% of what happens to you, with you, probably even 99%, happens when you're not conscious of it. So, if you can go into an altered state, who knows what an altered state is? Altered state of consciousness is a state that's different from your conscious mind right now as you're sitting listening to it. Such as meditation, such as prayer, such as a mother breastfeeding, such as when you're in a psychotic state or a trance state. Do you understand? Or healing. They are altered states, and our brainwave patterns are different there. So we've come to understand through research that we can learn probably 500% more when you're in an altered state than when you're in a normal state. So that's very important to understand. Because a lot of people have asked me, what is the use? People, please, I don't need to compete. Let's just quiet. The altered state opens us up to ourselves. Your conscious state takes you away from yourself. Because your attention is outside, using your 5 senses to see potential threat. That's what's behind it. Survival, fear, curiosity. When you feel comfortable and there's no threat, you get curious. But that's not inquiry. Curiosity is what our animals have. That's the animal part of the human. It's not bad, it's just limited. If you want to learn more, you have to learn to use your mind in a different way and not keep putting more and more information into your head. Because your head is just like a cup. It can only fit so much information until there's an overflow. And it says, sorry, can't fit anymore, and it presses the pause button. Okay? That's a condition, psychological condition called information overload. And your body gets that anyway. It's picking up information. Subconsciously is the altered state. So the area where the altered state is go to the next one, please? Is subconscious. Next. So we have 5 bodies according to Wisdom traditions, and I'm explaining them scientifically. The first one are your senses, because they're more dense. That means the vibrational frequency is lower. Hi guys, I'm listening to you, so let's try to listen. Hello? Hello? Anyway, so we have 5 bodies. The second one, the feelings, vital body. Notice how feelings can be very powerful. Fear is very powerful and puts you into a hyperactive state. But it's not a powerful state in terms of you feeling power, you feel threatened. Anger is repressed fear. So that's very powerful. Instead of doing this, as with fear, protection of yourself, anger is I'm angry. The energy goes out. So they're high energy states. High energy states, internal, high energy state, external. Then, how long can you stay angry for? One day. I know people have been angry for most of their lives. But they can't be angry all the time. You know why? Because your body's producing hormones to prepare you for fight or flight. And if you're angry all the time, believe me, you will drop dead. You can't handle that state all the time. And if you're angry for a long time, after a period, your body is exhausted. What happens is, you put the anger on pause, and what will manifest is a state of sadness. Because you've just wasted a lot of energy being angry. And that's scientific fact. So after the sadness, if you can open up and accept that a mistake was made, and you should not criticize, judge, or punish yourself because you didn't understand. It doesn't matter what the actual action was. You've got to look at yourself and understand that you are suffering. You're not in a harmonic state. Your homeostasis is not balanced. Just look at it through the eyes and ears, experience it. That's your vitality of your body. Look at it through the eyes and the feelings of your body. The next one, your thoughts, your mental body. Thoughts are just constructs. Electrical constructs. They're electrical signals that create an image. The image then catalyzes a feeling. So it comes down from thought to feeling, and it goes up from the body and the external environment into feelings. So feelings, here in the heart, is an intermediary center, a very important center, headquarters. Then we have the intuition, or actually it should be instinct. And the instinct is there based on keeping you alive. It's survival. If you don't stay alive long enough to have a life, you've just lost the opportunity to grow in this life. Do you understand? So instincts are important, but they are not intuition. Intuition is the inner teacher. Because, what's the difference? With instinct, you can't control. You go into reaction. With intuition, you stay in quietness and stillness, and you create a space to allow what's there to show itself to you. This is called the response. And in the response, you have a choice. With instinct, there's no choice. Your hand touches fire, you put it away. You're not sitting there thinking, my hand is burning, but if I keep calm, even though my skin is burning and I can smell it burn, maybe I will learn a lesson here. Doesn't work that way, does it? So instincts have a very, very important role to play, but we shouldn't use them for higher logic, reasoning, and other purposes that require a deeper level of understanding, and therefore we go from information to knowledge, and finally from knowledge to knowing. And knowing takes a very deep process, which is your inner teacher, the intuition. That means, as I said before, quietness and stillness is the foundation for no criticism, no judgment. Being present from the neutral, so you can see what's there and not function from reaction. So, next one, please. Yeah. The interconnection, by the way, of all of these, when people talk about energy, emotion, they say, oh, I'm emotional. Emotion means the energy of all 5 bodies communicating with each other. They are relaying information to each other. They are different portals where we are literally listening to other parts of ourselves. So being emotional actually means opening up to receive all the different energy of the 5 bodies at the same time. Here's the difference. If you allow the instinct to come back in, it will take over. And then you don't create space to learn from what that emotion means. So that's why it's important to learn to start to pause things. Next one, please. So, there's a model of psychology which starts at the sense of self. Psychology, in Jungian psychology, there's a very important thing called self. Hi, people. Can you please settle? Thank you. This is where everyone is in their conscious mind. Right there. Sense of self. There's a thing called the subconscious, where all the information that you are picking up every second gets stored, but it doesn't have a meaning until you bring it to the conscious mind. Then there's the unconscious, that's basically your body. And then there's the collective unconscious. That is the wave where everybody is connected to each other. So we're picking up their feelings as well. That's important to understand. Notice this is like an iceberg. There's the tip of the iceberg, and that's just below the water. Now, this is a psychology model that Carl Gustav Jung gave us. This model from up here is the spiritual model that you will see in wisdom traditions. You notice something here. All of that stuff here is about you as an individual. It's personal. All of this stuff here is you outside of yourself. It's non-personal. It goes from here, there's your conscious mind, to the observer, where your soul is. Your higher self, the supramental, is non-critical, non-judgmental. And then we go to your superconscious, the spirit, and then connecting to the collective superconscious, which is spoken about in Vedanta, when it starts with Akasha and Manas and the rest of it. So, nobody has put these 2 models together, because this is personal. So psychology deals with the personal from the personal. This is non-personal. So spirituality deals with the non-personal from the non-personal. That's why it's so hard to understand it, because we're so used to being personal. Personal is about me, myself, and I. Everything is about making me feel safe, comfortable, and secure. You understand? So step by step, we need to find a way, which there are techniques, and I teach them, to put all of the personal on pause and start exploring your non-personal. Because that's a huge new dimension that I guarantee will allow you to see a lot more than the personal will. Because the personal is limited. It's only interested in your safety. The Father archetype gives us 3 other qualities. The first one is protection, which is good. Once you feel protected, then you open up to being guided. And that's different than imprinting you, which is what happens in normal education. And the last step is called growth, where you grow. So you need to understand that growth will happen once you're engaging, bringing into your conscious mind all this other stuff. Not all of it, just start here. In science, we're supposed to be observers. We're observing phenomena, we're observing experiments, we're observing results, we're observing people. As a therapist, doctor and scientists have to observe people. But if you do it from the personal, you are not seeing what's really there. You're coloring, you're projecting. And projection is what we do naturally, but it's dangerous, because you can't see what's really there if you're projecting onto it. Next. So we move now. Yeah.
talked about the subconscious mind is a database of emotionless programs, when all interpretations occur in the conscious mind, perception of the meaning of things. That's important to understand as well. The conscious mind is a thing called perception. It takes information and it starts to alter it according to the subconscious programs of the safety, comfort, and security, and whether or not you've been guided and empowered. Protection gives you power. Protection of the Father gives you power. Next. So perception is defined as awareness of the elements of the physical environment around you. Take a look at this. Tell me what it looks like to you. Everyone. Tell me what it looks like to you.
Woman.
A woman? Yeah? What kind of woman? A young woman? A young woman, okay. Anyone else see anything else? I've been told young woman. Yeah, there's her profile, there's her ear, there's her neck, and she's wearing something around her neck here, a collar. Yes? Can you see anything else there? An old woman. Well done, you. You see, how is it an old woman? The ear suddenly becomes an eye. There's a profile with a big knot on the nose. There's the mouth. Yeah, funny, isn't it? That's what perception does. So, you could be looking at something, and one person sees the young woman, and the other person sees actually a witch, an old hag. And this is what perception. It colors our reality. It takes the information we're receiving, and it changes it. So, next. Okay, everyone. Quieten down. Who's heard of emotional intelligence? IQ is intelligence quota. That's mental intelligence. It's a test. Now people are talking about, have been for about 10 years, emotional intelligence. They're talking about your feelings. I'll go one step further and I talk about emotional maturity. And that has to do with using your memory in a way where you access it at will, so that you have a choice and learn how to make decisions that you are responsible for. Measuring emotional intelligence is really good. It's better than just being stuck at the level of the intellectual intelligence. But it doesn't talk about what creates maturity. And maturity is learning to see what's there outside of your own choice and your wish and your desire, your like and dislike, and learning to be responsible for your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Therefore, it happens because of the difference between reaction and response. What I was saying before. If you feel threatened, you go into reaction because it's a trigger. When you feel safe, you can be quiet and still, and you can open the space to feel what's going on. That's called response. And you're weighing things up like a scale. Yeah. And you're able to make a choice and a decision. So I say to everyone, everybody will grow old and eventually die. We know this. Therefore, very few people grow up because they have not been guided to understand emotional maturity. Next. Okay, this is talking about how on the outside of the cell, we have hundreds of thousands of switches which act as antennas. They're called intermembrane proteins. And they don't only control the chemistry that's happening, but they also vibrate like antennas. They're very sensitive. What do you think makes them vibrate? If it's not the chemistry. Waves. We're picking up waves from outside of us. And our cells are picking up also waves in between each other. That's how cells communicate. Bioresonant frequencies, frequencies of waves, activate the cell membranes. And they're switches. And there's hundreds of thousands of them. But they all work at the same time together. They don't act independently. So our cells know how to be collective in their functioning by nature. And that's really important to understand. Our cells co-work with each other. Our conscious mind is not very good at co-working with the rest of us because we weren't taught how to do that. That is why we are not emotionally mature. We're fighting ourselves, trying to figure out and feel through who's going to win. Thoughts over feelings, feelings over knowing. Do you understand? Because we were never given this opportunity or this perspective. Next. Okay, these are the crystals that exist within our membranes, which act like liquid crystals in a computer. And that is how those crystals are activating, literally, signals. This is more complex biology than you will learn in school. But I'm introducing it just so that you know it's there. And it's not something that is made up, like a story. And this is how we pick up information from the external environment, and it activates an electrical signal in the body through the cells, and those signals go to the brain, which is your central processing unit. But it tries to work out what's happening. Next. Consciousness in the body. The connection, the interconnection between environmental signals and behavioral proteins are your membrane. We used to think in the past, quiet them down please people. If anybody would like to talk, I'm happy for you to come up here and do the talking. Okay? We used to think that all of the brain of the cell was in the membrane until the nucleus, sorry, not the membrane, the nucleus of the cell, until it was taken out. It was an experiment. Biologists assumed and expected the cell would die in 24 to 48 hours. After 1 week it was still alive, they were very surprised. After 1 month it was still alive, they were even more surprised. And after 3 months it was still alive and they were shocked. And they realized the nucleus is not the brain of a cell. And when they took the membrane away from the cell, it died within 48 hours. Then they understood that's where all the information exchange takes place. And that information feeds, it activates the DNA and chromosomes within nuclei, and that is basically the importance and significance of the nucleus. It's just a library of information. Let's go to the next one. So life is about interconnection. Signals from external environment making up light, sound, everything I said, pulsed electromagnetic fields, radio waves, everything is actually acting as a stimulant for the body. What we need to understand is programs can be changed through specific positively aligned practices such as meditation, visualization, breathing, stretching, strengthening, change of diet, change of mindset. All of this is very possible, very quick to learn, very simple and easy, as long as there's willingness. And you're not expecting something from what you do in 1 day. Next. So the conclusion is, we are not victims of our genes, the environment, our thoughts, or any individual or social beliefs. This is really important. It is your belief. A belief is a program. It's a concretized program. It keeps you stuck. If you're a scientist, you can't afford to believe in anything because you can easily be proven wrong. And therefore, what happens to belief? You need to be open-minded. Openness. You need to be simple. Don't complicate things. You need to be natural. Accept. You need to be spontaneous. They are the qualities, if you may remember, of a child. Next. I'm going to take you through the rest very quickly. I'm introducing you to now, as a consequence of everything I shared with you, what is mind health. Next. So, no. Just next one. So mind health is about the impact your thoughts and feelings have on your physical body, and how anything longer than 6 weeks that has not healed itself in your body is called chronic. How chronic disorders affect your thoughts and feelings through the three-brain connection. Yeah. It's the brain in the head, the brain in the heart, and the brain in the gut, and how they affect each other. Next. There are different types of medicine, and I've created this system where I take complementary, which is something like physiotherapy or nursing that complements normal medicine. Hey guys, we either listen to each other and everyone else's conversation, in which case there's no sharing, or we keep quiet just for a little bit longer, because this is not for me. I'm sharing something with you. Hopefully, it will be of some use. So, we have that which complements normal medicine, Western medicine, that which is an alternative, like homeopathy, or bodywork, chiropractic osteopathy, or even psychology is not considered medical. And that which is traditional, like Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, etc., passed on generation after generation. And then we've got allopathy, which is the medical system based on Newtonian mechanistic science. That is the reason why it's limited. It doesn't understand anything that it can't see and touch. I keep repeating. What you can't see and touch is supposed to not exist. Remember what I said in the beginning? You all have thoughts and feelings. Can you see and touch them? No. Then they shouldn't exist. You follow? So we're in contradiction with ourselves all the time. And so I've created this platform, which is the energy medicine platform. It uses light in the form of lasers, diodes, sound like ultrasound, electricity, microcurrents, magnetism, magnetic fields, Tesla plasma, which are free ions and electrons, and other devices which are called bioresonant frequency devices, and radio waves. And they stimulate your cells directly. You don't need medicines. And they do it like super fast. And I get super fast results. And that, because we all understand those technologies, scientists can accept them, and so can doctors. And it's beginning to be a good platform where the first three, these are the types of energies: light, sound, electricity, magnetism, bioresonance, and Tesla plasma. As a consequence of this, this integrated medical model is beginning to become acknowledged and accepted slowly, because I can explain it in their language. You can see and touch all this stuff, and it works. You can feel it really quickly. Next. That's a Tesla device, by the way. It was made in 1920. I was really lucky to find it. Somebody restored it, and I bought it from him. So it's fantastic. It produces 30 to 50,000 volts, but hardly any amperage, no current. And it gets quick results for injuries in particular, and many other disorders. Next. So mental health is a world problem, and that's why mind health is there. Mental health is the problem. If you go to the World Health Organization site, you will read that mental health, registered mental health patients have gone up by 40% to over 1 billion people. So mental health has become the new pandemic. It is the new problem. Mind health is the solution. Is to approach things in this integrated way, beginning to see how you are responsible for your thoughts and feelings and how you can manage them. Understanding that your thoughts and feelings do impact your physiology. Because when we're picking up all this stuff from our external environment, what does it do? It activates anxiety, stress, panic, depression. Too much activity becomes ADHD, attention deficiency disorder, or it causes you to go inside and you have autistic-like symptoms. Or it actually creates problems in older people and they get dementia. This makes up 90% of mental health. Next, please. So how common is mental illness? 970 million people worldwide. Do you think that's a small number? It's nearly 1 billion. Anxiety is the most common mental health illness in the world, affecting nearly 300 million people. Anxiety. How many of parents who understand what's going on inside you. They communicate with you. If you have thoughts and feelings that you're not clear about, are you able to communicate them with them? Not easy, yeah? This is what will lead, because when you feel that someone's not hearing you, it actually makes you more anxious. Okay, let's go to the next. What I've done is taken technology and improved it. Next. And we have a bioelectric assessment. There's a device that stimulates the fingers with 5,000 volts, but no amperage. So it releases photons, photographs them, and after 20 years of research, they've made very accurate calculations of what's going on in all your systems, through the nervous system and through the photons. The photons are measured in joules. So it's a very accurate device, developed originally in Russia, but it's sold now throughout Europe and the United States. I use it together with another device, which is basically stimulating the brain through your eyes and your ears to help activate neurons in the brains and reprogram the anxiety, the stress. And actually it's been used over the last 20 years very successfully for all the disorders that I was talking about. ADHD, autism, dementia, as well as anxiety, stress, and depression. So this is what we do. This also coordinates left-right brain with sound. We call binaural beats, isochronic tones, and it helps to calm the brain down and bring it back into alignment very quickly. We use this in my clinic in Yoris, and I'm bringing it to India and possibly to Nepal to introduce it as part of mind health. It's not just a psychological approach, theoretical. We've got devices that work very quickly. Hey guys, I'm looking to recruit people in our mind health clinics that we're going to be setting up soon in India and bringing it here. It's helping to find solutions, practical, hands-on solutions, very quick, very efficient and effective, and lasting. So, next.
That's it. That's it.
Next. What's it?
That's it.
No, go to the next. Just to finish.
There is none. That's the final one.
Go to the next slides. I just want to finish, wrap up. Next one. Oh, that was the last one.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Last slide. Okay. So, today was about introducing you all, first and foremost, to what you are and not who you are. Because you can get lots of information about who you are from everyone else you know. Your parents, your family, your friends, your teachers, your social media page or presence. But what you are, very few people can help you to understand. This what gives you 1,000 times more clarity and power than your who. This is really important. And finally, the most important part of all, if we want lasting success and happiness, you need to understand what taking responsibility means. Emotional maturity. This is the foundation of all wisdom traditions. I'm sure you've heard them say, liberate yourself. What are you liberating yourself from? From the illusion that's been created by your identity. And now I've presented all of that to you scientifically. And that is the science of spirituality. Thank you. Hello everyone.